I was generally thinking it was going to blink, but I don't think it's going to blink. So welcome to the review of Fall. Okay, right, welcome to my little review rant random waffle. There we go. For the Fall. So last night, last showing, I went from a yo-yo shift, which is a late to an early shift, so by the time I get home you've got like 6 hours maybe to sleep and do everything you need to really do before you go back and do it again. And at the moment I've got a massive move around at work, so it's kind of like taking loads of films, loads of A to Zs, loads of different subgenres, and you're just like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And you know, the last thing you want to do is finish work and go to a film because you're afraid of falling asleep. I am. I've seen people actually fall asleep doing this. So again, I'll never forget when my friend Stephen Vores fell asleep watching 8 Mile. So yeah, anyway, off that rant. So last night, the last showing of The Fall was last night. Now, The Fall is directed by Scott Mann, written by Jonathan Frank and edited by Rob Hall. 3 people I worked with on the tournament over 15 years ago, which is terrifying. They've went on to do 2 other films and then dibble-dabbled in a few other things like Strike Back and stuff. But the final score and The Heist, also known as The Bus, 537? 657. Scott's written that. So you might notice they were all graffitied on there by Scott. And then the tournament's down there as well. So it's weird because recently, you know, it came out of nowhere. So I went into this. Dan in Texas had posted about this at Launch TV. Now, that's Scott's new film. I hope it gets released over here, and it did. So Dan was going on about it, so I was just like, right, okay. Now, Final Score did get a cinema release, but it was a Sky Cinema release. So it was only available for a couple of nights, and it was way down south. So I missed that at the pictures. So again, last night I made the effort. I messaged Scott, got a massive thumbs up, he was over the moon, and I've just spoken to Rob this morning as well, which is awesome because Rob's an amazing editor. Cut his teeth on Resident Evil 2, The Apocalypse, and just even if you watch the trailer of The Fall, you can kind of see some of the editing in it. It's like snappy editing, especially like jumpy editing, and I think the guy, I've sat in like the prep room when they were prepping the tournament and just seeing how many fucking, you know, like hands are going all. There's an inspiration to see how many screens he's looking at and how he can take it all in. I learned a lot from that. So to see years later how he's proper mastered his craft, because I think this is what this film is. So I've sat there before and listened to Jonathan Frank tell a story about a red moon, and I was captivated him then. I mean, I was like, he was telling a story. And when he used to tell me stories, or him and Nick used to tell me stories about the cast of the tournament and the backstories, there's a lot going on in the tournament. There's a lot of assassins, they've all got backstories, they're all doing this, they're all crossing over, they're all getting... And it's the same with The Bus, and it's the same with Final Score. Lots of people, lots going on. In this movie, there's about 5 people, you know, give or take, yeah, 5 people you need to watch. And that's what was interesting about here, because here's the situation, and here's the character of the development. And although this is suspense, this is actually genuinely terrifying. I nearly shit myself about 3 times last night. Again, it's one of those films. Now, you can always look at the tournament and go, oh, you know, like I always said, Condemned came out the same year. Did someone read a script? But you've got Battle Royale, you can look at Final Score and look at Die Hard, Under Siege. You can look at The Bus and go Speed. This you can probably look at Open Water. And you go, here's a situation, here's 2 people. Like, how did they get in that and how did they get out of that? But I think what I absolutely adored about The Fall was the way it looked, the cinematography. I mean, it's kind of like, you look at it and go, oh, that's green screen. But then you look at it and you go, right, that is just a beautiful painting on something, especially when it pulls back and you've just got this thin line down and you're like, oh my God, look at that. And just like showing how high this is and how narrow it is. It's like trying to get up the game, the Ghostbusters. And I remember that, old school. But you're sitting there, it's the cinema experience and the sounds there and the landscape, and you're like, wow, you know, really sucked it in. But again, starts off, you know, it starts off with a cliffhanger. Ace Ventura, Nature Calls. I've not long recently seen Free Solo, which is just unbelievable. I mean, Free Solo is something you need to actually witness and see, because that's guys climbing El Capitan with no ropes and no, like, well, have I died? It's just like, you know, that is just something to watch. But then you see this and, you know, there's a fall, hence the film's called Fall. And that sets it up. So it borrows a little bit from, say, a cliffhanger. I didn't feel as much love for the guy as I did for the raccoon in Ace Ventura 2, but anyway, off that rant. So you go into it and Jeffrey Dean Morgan pops up, who obviously was in the heist. And there's a bit later on, no spoilers here, but Batista's been in Scott's last 2 films, and I think it's on the back of here when he's wrote, Batista. Batista's got Batista's got some writing across his mush on that one. Mush. Anyway, the whole wrestling, I loved that. We just got back from Clash at the Castle on the weekend. So we're still having the wrestling vibe, and for the wrestling to come into it was mint. And I said to Britt, I says, I bet he says Batista, and he did, and I thought, Batista's going to be watching that and going to absolutely love that little Easter egg. But away from that, the rest of it was quite serious, and you're setting it up, you got 2 girls, and they're coming off the aftermath of it. Now, going into it, they'll get there, there's been a tragedy, they'll look up, they're going to climb it, and after the trailer, they're going to get stuck. So right now, if you haven't seen it, get it watched, support it at the cinemas, and it'll be out on physical media before Christmas. It's awesome. I'm now going to go into spoiling it a bit, because again, I walked away from that last night like I fucking should from a film going, wow. And it's not that I met the guys and know the guys from way back. I went there and went, yes. I've been to the pictures and seen some films and went, what the fuck? The Witch. Like, what the fuck? I'm going to the pictures on tomorrow night to see Jaws, because Jaws at the cinema. But I know what I'm going to do, and then halfway through Jaws I'll be like, how am I going to get home? You know what I mean? But like, the film grabbed us, and once the start was that way, and they get there and they're climbing up, and then you're looking for situations and you go, I wonder how this is going to end. And I generally thought it was going to end like open water, when they're like, right, we're fucked, that's it. But the climb, the suspense, how it's going to happen, the modern day twist to it with phones. How do you take a phone out of that? I mean, they're up around antenna. They're too high. Easiest line ever. But again, that was a thing where that was how do you take a phone out in modern day films. It did that. They had the drone, which obviously they had the calf. They had the general fear, the dehydration. The vultures was like something completely different, because like vultures are not really like like in movies. These are given a vulture, kind of almost like a vulture movie, like survival of the fittest. There was some great dialogue in this as well. There was some great like strong messages about living life and being like, what I mean, when you're down and out and getting back up and fighting. There was a lot of that in it. I thought that the way they used the cameras coming over with modern day technology. I mean, look at them shots. You wouldn't be able to do that in the fucking like 80s and stuff like that. It would be weird miniatures, like, I mean, great, don't get us wrong, there was some great like blue screen, like miniature composite shots in the 80s and all that, but like this, the way it was panning around and scanning. I watched Ambulance recently with Michael Bay and I was like, what the hell's going on? This is way too fast. This panning around, and the performances of the 2 lasters I thought was really good. The twists of the story as well, great. The bits where I shit myself, literally shit myself. The bit where she has a nightmare for the first time, and then finds a friend there. I generally thought watching it that one of them would fall off asleep. That would be a way to completely swerve that movie, where, she fell asleep and fell off. She wakes up and like, shit. And I thought that's a genuine like, whoa, that's how you take one of them out of the equation. And then you're on your own. The bit where the rain came and the thunder crack and she screamed into darkness, I generally shit myself. I generally did. There's a lot of times we're falling. I've done a bungee jump before, and like you look at them falls and them sudden stops and the jerks and the pains and like, you could just fucking feel it. I could feel it in my body. The sound was really good on these stuff. But again, that thunder crack and that last expression of her screaming, you're just on top of a pole and the fucking storm's coming. You're like, what the fuck's going to happen? The twist that the other lasses didn't survive and she's been a figment of her imagination. was another twist in dark, serious tone, where going back to when Jonathan would tell stories of the red moon and, you know, the eclipse of the moon, what he was telling us years ago, that he always would have a twist. There was a lot of twists with the backstories of some of the tournament characters. There's a twist coming, and that twist, wow, is yeah. But it was done really well, and I'm just so happy for them. I know Scott's for the last couple of years, he took the jump, he's moved to America. Jonathan's kept pen and paper to it. Rob's probably not seen much daylight in the last decade, you know what I mean? Because, you know, in editing, you sit there and you're staring at multiple screens. And something like that, it's one of those things where seconds count, sound counts, everything. So I absolutely was blown away by it. So that was absolutely awesome. So yeah, I'll see you in the outtakes.
Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling?
Oh, bless you. What do you mean legal shit?
You've got a video camera in the cinema.
Right, there's no one here.
It's still illegal.
It's not legal. We'll come to see the movie.
I haven't got much outtakes actually. It's actually awesome because I think, just to plug Lonely Tree here, last year the final episode of Fast Forward Reviews was the tournament, where, you know, Scott gave us an amazing feedback review of his own of what I did for a review of a movie, and obviously used a lot of my own footage of it. And they would have been filming the fall at that time, you know what I mean? So it's kind of weird where you can go, like, crossroads in life. I think there's a lot of that, you know. So yeah, it's also weird as well if you want to talk about the echo of the tournament. Echo of the tournament? I'm meant to do a Dog Soldiers, if you're following the channel, I was meant to do a Dog Soldiers signing last week. That's still going to happen at some point. And then I'm going to meet Ian Somerhalder in a few weeks' time, which I'll get him to sign this. Aha! I can't get him to sign the poster, he's not on the poster. He was added to the poster. But it'd be interesting going away from that to see what the artwork looks like for the fall. Because the whole, like that, it sells. Like, whoa, what's that? Like, yeah, it's going to sell. It's going to sell on great artwork as well, which I'll probably just get. You could do with multiple ones. Yeah, but anyway, off that rant. Well done, guys. I'm going to go to work and finish with my 8 Zs. Goodbye then.